From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is Wake Up Weather.
Good Tuesday morning. We are live at 6 a.m. I'm Kelly Rawson here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. It is going to be another very hot and humid day. You probably didn't need me to tell you that, though. But we do have a thunderstorm chance once again for today. In fact, I will map out the rest of the week's thunderstorm chance, as well as how hot we are going to be for the rest of the weekend if this heat is going to let up anytime soon here in this weather update. But let's go ahead and start off with what's going on. We do have a heat advisory in effect again this afternoon. In fact, an extreme heat warning over into Hardin County. So the heat is here, and it is here to stay not only for today, but unfortunately for the next few days as well. So be sure to be taking your heat precautions this afternoon as well. More on that here towards the end of this weather update. But we are scanning a clear sky on Live Viper Doppler radar. So it's off to a calm start, just kind of like yesterday. However, this afternoon, we are expecting a few thunderstorms to pop up. More on that here in just a moment. Temperatures are anywhere from the lower 70s up into Hohenwald, Columbia, and Lewisburg, down into the mid 70s pretty much everywhere else. So another warm start to what is going to be another very hot day. We are off to a calm start. Those birds getting in a nice flight this morning. We are looking at a milky sky, mostly sunny, with a few clouds in the area. Again, temperatures in the mid 70s. Good morning to you folks tuning in Lawrence County, Tennessee, over into Columbia. Looking at the downtown area, nice calm and quiet start, but a very warm start, already feeling quite muggy out there too. So a bit uncomfy to start off the day, only unfortunately going to get worse from there. Still waking up over in Florence, temperatures in the mid 70s. We are going to see those mid 70s for the next little bit until we get into the 80s by mid-morning, and then we are going to soar right up into the 90s heading into this afternoon. I'm not really seeing any signs of any sort of morning rain chance. However, towards the afternoon, getting a little bit closer to that 12 o'clock hours when we will start to see a few thunderstorms pop up in the area. Temperatures already into the 90s, even into the mid 90s in some locations around lunchtime. So again, a very hot day expected. I'm not so sure the coverage is going to be as scattered as Futurecast is showing, but that being said, we are still expecting thunderstorms to pop up later on this afternoon, continuing into the early evening, but they will lose their steam as we lose sunshine later on in the afternoon. Now, aside from the thunderstorms, again, temperatures will be in the mid 90s or lower 90s, so a very hot day. Humidity still staying with us. If you do see a thunderstorm in your location, you'll be cooled off briefly in terms of the temperature, but it is still going to be feeling downright miserable because the mugginess is not going to go away. But as we head into the evening, closer to sunset, those thunderstorms will lose their steam and we should be mostly dry overnight with just a few clouds in the area. Temperatures getting down into the mid 70s for low temperatures. I wish those were the high temperatures, but hey, it is all right. Temperatures already getting up into the mid 80s by mid-morning for your Wednesday. Yes, the heat is here to stay for a while. We have minimal rain chances, although we do still have those rain chances on the board for the rest of the work week. We are looking at an isolated pop-up thunderstorm chance for your Wednesday. Same story for your Thursday, and that will also be the same story heading into your Friday. So rain chances are still on the board, however, not so scattered or widespread. Not everybody going to see a thunderstorm every day by any means. However, everybody is going to be feeling the heat, not only today, but unfortunately for the next few days. Air temperatures in the mid 90s through about Thursday and even into Friday as well. Heat index values pushing 110 degrees in some locations. So again, going to be very hot and very humid. That heat advisory in effect for a majority of us here in the Tennessee Valley. Your morning drive for this morning, though, looking at calm and pleasant, albeit just a little bit warm out there. We are going to look at a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. Any sort of rain chances should hold off until the late morning into the early afternoon. 82 by 9 a.m., and it is only going to get warmer from there. And then for today, as we go hour by hour with that heat index value, again, mainly between the hours of 12 p.m. and 6 p.m., that's when it's going to be the hottest outside. That's when it's going to be feeling the most uncomfortable, and that is when you certainly are going to be needing to take your heat precautions. That includes staying hydrated and taking breaks with those heat index values pushing 106 to 108 degrees and the air temperatures in the mid 90s. And speaking of heat safety, again, stay indoors if at all possible. I know that's not the reality for some folks that have to work outside, especially in this summer heat. So just be making sure your air conditioning is working correctly in your vehicle, in your home. Check on your neighbors, check on the elderly. It is time to all work together to beat the heat. Also, be sure to stay hydrated every 20 to 30 minutes, especially if you're outdoors. Be drinking water, even if you don't feel thirsty. Avoid caffeine, alcohol, things like that. Those actually dehydrate you. Again, make sure you're checking on people. And then if you do have to go outdoors again, be taking breaks. Cold rag around your neck is one of my favorite things to do. And wear light colored, loose fitting clothing. Avoid any sort of heavy materials as well. Over the next few hours, like I said, temperatures getting up into the mid 90s with that isolated thunderstorm chance, a few popping up here and there for this afternoon. That will be the same story for the next several days. That's just because, you guys, we are going to be so hot and so humid. We simply can't rule it out with those thunderstorms during the afternoons. Better rain chances, though, do come heading into the weekend, and that's when we get to cool off, we'll say, into the lower 90s as opposed to the mid 90s. But hey, we will take anything that we can get. Let's check at your local weather forecast. I'll be back at 8 a.m. with your next weather update.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.